No, I'm innocent. You're goddamn. Not a big deal.
What would you do if a routine traffic stop turned into a public humiliation? Imagine you're driving through the city at night, minding your business, working honestly, and suddenly flashing lights appear behind you. No explanation, no warning, just suspicion. For one taxi driver, that exact moment became a night he would never forget. Tonight's story examines a tense and deeply unsettling encounter between a black taxi driver and law enforcement. This isn't just about one traffic stop. It's about perception, power, and the fragile line between public safety and personal dignity. Let's walk through exactly what happened. It was close to midnight when Daniel Okoye began his final rounds for the evening. Daniel had been driving a taxi for nearly 8 years. He knew the streets well, the shortcuts, the busy intersections, the late-night crowds spilling from restaurants and bars. Driving a taxi wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills. Daniel prided himself on professionalism. His car was clean, his paperwork always up to date, his demeanor polite. That night, he picked up a passenger outside a shopping plaza, a young woman heading home after a late shift. The ride was uneventful. Calm music played softly through the speakers. City lights flickered across the windshield. Then came the siren, a short burst. Daniel's stomach tightened instantly. In his experience, police stops rarely felt neutral. There was always tension, a silent calculation of tone, body language, compliance. He pulled over immediately. Before he could even turn off the engine, 2 officers stepped out of their patrol vehicle. No greeting, no explanation, just scrutiny. Officer Grant approached Daniel's window while Officer Miller stood slightly behind, scanning the vehicle. License and registration. Daniel handed over the documents calmly. Is there a problem, officer? Grant didn't respond. Instead, he leaned closer, shining his flashlight inside the car, over the dashboard, the back seat, the passenger. What are you doing out this late? I'm working. I'm a taxi driver. Grant glanced at Miller. You own this vehicle? No, it's leased through the taxi company. Grant's expression hardened. Step out of the car. Daniel hesitated for half a second, not in defiance, but confusion. Is there a reason? Grant's tone sharpened. Step out of the car. The passenger watched silently, visibly uneasy. Daniel complied. Miller immediately began circling the vehicle. Grant questioned Daniel like a suspect rather than a driver. Where are you coming from? Dropping off fares. Any drugs in the vehicle? No. Any weapons? No. Meanwhile, Miller opened the back door. Daniel blinked. Officer, can you tell me what this is about? Grant ignored the question. Escalation of tension. What unsettled Daniel most wasn't just the questioning, it was the presumption. The officers weren't investigating a specific violation. They were searching for justification. Miller began inspecting the trunk, without consent, without probable cause clearly stated. The passenger finally spoke. Officers, is everything okay? Grant replied curtly, Ma'am, remain inside the vehicle. Daniel could feel eyes on them. Late-night pedestrians slowed. Curiosity turned into an audience. And with every passing second, Daniel's dignity eroded. Then came the moment that shifted everything. Miller held up a small, crumpled plastic bag he'd retrieved from the trunk. Grant's posture changed instantly. Well, Daniel frowned. What is that? Grant turned the bag toward him. You tell us. Daniel stared. I don't know what that is. Grant's voice rose, loud enough for bystanders. So now you're saying you don't know what's in your own vehicle? It's a leased taxi. Different drivers use it during the day. Grant stepped closer. You expect us to believe that? Daniel's pulse hammered. I'm telling you the truth. Grant leaned in, voice dripping with accusation. Hands behind your back. Daniel froze. What? For what? For obstruction. I'm not obstructing anything. Pedestrians stopped completely now, Phones emerged. Someone began recording. Daniel's voice cracked with disbelief. "I haven't done anything wrong." Grant tightened his grip. "Stop resisting." "I'm not resisting." The phrase, so often heard in viral clips, landed like a script being followed. Reality blurred into something surreal. Daniel wasn't fighting, he was trying to understand. Yet the narrative had already been written. Peak emotional impact. The humiliation wasn't physical, not yet. It was psychological, public, slow. Grant forced Daniel against the car, metal against cheek, bystanders murmuring, the passenger crying quietly. Daniel's mind raced through every cautionary story he'd ever heard. Stay calm. Don't argue. Don't move suddenly. But calmness had not prevented escalation. Compliance had not ensured fairness. Miller spoke into the radio. Grant kept repeating, "Stop resisting." Even though Daniel stood still, even though his hands were pinned, even though the crowd could see. Turning point. Then something unexpected happened. A voice from the crowd, "Officers, that's illegal." A middle-aged man stepped forward cautiously. "I saw the whole thing. He didn't resist." Grant snapped, "Sir, step back." More voices joined. "He didn't do anything. Why are you arresting him?" The presence of witnesses began to shift the balance of power. Grant hesitated, just slightly, but enough. Miller approached quietly, whispering something. Grant's grip loosened. The plastic bag suddenly seemed less definitive, less certain, less worth the spectacle. After a tense pause, Grant exhaled sharply. "Remove the cuffs." Daniel staggered slightly as they were released. No apology, no clarification, just a cold warning. "You're free to go, but watch yourself." Daniel stood there stunned, shaken, humiliated, vindicated, but only technically, because innocence had not prevented degradation, because dignity had not been restored by release. The passenger exited the vehicle slowly. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. Daniel nodded weakly, but words felt inadequate. He drove home in silence that night, not angry, not yet, just exhausted, carrying a familiar weight. This encounter raises uncomfortable questions about authority, perception, and bias. Was this a legitimate investigation or suspicion fueled by assumptions? Moments like these rarely offer simple answers, but they reveal complex realities about policing and lived experience. What do you think happened here? Was this procedure or profiling? Share your perspective in the comments below and subscribe for more deep dives into real-world stories that challenge how we see justice, power, and accountability.